Hello and welcome to a new vlog. Welcome back to my channel. Hello if you're new here. Hi, I'm Andrea. Welcome back if you're one of my lovely returning friends. It is officially November 1st as I am filming this. So I have already uploaded a vlog today that was prepping for Nano. That vlog was such chaos. Hope you enjoyed it. But today it's at the actual start of Nano for me. So it is day one of NaNoWriMo, which is very exciting. I am in a much better mood and mindset than I was in the last vlog. There's still a lot that I could be stressed about, but I'm just choosing not to stress about it. I'm done. It's not worth it. It's not worth the stress. So we're not gonna stress. It's all gonna be fine. But I do have a busy day. I've just been on a very long call this morning. I have another call in a couple hours. I have more teaching work I need to do. I need to eat. I feel like I always start these vlogs and I still haven't eaten yet, so I need to go get some lunch. I need to then do some teaching work, I think, and then I do want to do some book work, talk about book stuff. I'll give you the update on where things are at. I've been having a lot of, just doing a lot of thinking since the last vlog, since Saturday. So I last vlogged on Saturday, October 28th or something like that. It's now Wednesday, November 1st. So the last few days I've just been doing a lot of thinking about the book, thinking about work, thinking about where we're at in the year, thinking about NaNoWriMo. My whole goal for NaNoWriMo this year is to have fun and to not stress out and to not be anxious and to not put pressure on myself. I'm really excited for the project that I'm going to be working on. I have not really touched this project. I've looked at it back in like late 2020, early 2021, but I haven't actively worked on it since I finished the first draft of the first book back in 2011, I think was when I finished it. I started it in 2010. So for those who haven't watched a previous video, I am resurrecting, which I think is a good word for this project, resurrecting an old fantasy project. We're calling it Project Darkness. So I don't have a series name for it. I don't have a title for any of the books yet. And I'm not working on any one particular book during Nano this month. I'm working on the whole series and just developing the series, which I'm very excited about. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later today when I actually sit down to work on that. But at the same time, November, I just feel like I need to start off our discussion of Nano with all of this. November is also the last month of the fall semester. So my full-time job, I'm a full-time writing instructor. I'm part of the English faculty at a university. So that's intense. Like we literally only have 4 weeks. We have 4 weeks after this one. I have 4 Tuesdays that I have to go on campus. I was on campus yesterday. It was Halloween, totally fun. Saw some students dressed up in costume, which was great. So after this week, I have 4 Tuesdays left. So November is going to be intense. And so I want Nano to be something fun and something that I look forward to in amongst all the chaos of the last month of the semester. I don't want Nano to be something that is just one more thing I have to do. So in addition to teaching work, I also am working on finishing up my 7th novel, what will be my 7th novel to be published. I'm still hoping to get that out by the end of this month. I'm now resigning myself to, not resigning, that's just not the right word choice. I'm now open to the idea of it not being published until December, and that'll be fine as well. Basically, at this point, any book sales I have from the launch, like even if I published it today, I wouldn't see that money until January. So whatever I do, it's not going to impact my 2023 book earnings. So why put the pressure on myself? Like I should have published it in October, then I might have seen something from it by December. But yeah, it's not going to impact my 2023 earnings. So releasing it in November versus December or even January really doesn't make a difference. It will come out this year. I know that even if it gets a little bit delayed, I'm so close. So it really is just, can it get out by the end of this month, or will it be more the beginning of December? So there will be a book launch. I am working towards that. That will get shifted off my plate as far as like being uploaded sometime this month. And then it just might be a matter of putting launch day sometime into the beginning of December if I need a little bit of time to prepare for that. So like that's going on. So I really don't want Nano to feel like a chore. I don't want Nano to be something that I am forcing myself to do. But I've also been feeling like if I don't start working on this project, I don't know when I will. And I want to take Nano to start working on it so that I can then kind of think in December how I see it playing out as part of my 2024 book and writing and publishing plans. Not publishing, but like, because I've talked about how I think I want to try to go the traditional publishing route. I need to be making plans for how I'm going to approach the querying process. So like I want to work on the series done and like feel like I know what this series is by the end of this month, so that December I can start making plans for the future of this series, and then January I can start like really jotting down, like writing down firm plans. So there's a lot going on this month, like in my full-time job, in my writing, in YouTube, because I'm going to be, documenting all of this, with Nano, with writing. There's a lot, and I'm excited about all of it. And so I'm just trying to focus on the excitement and just accept things will get done when they get done. I am going to do some Nano writing today because I do want to start Nano on day one. But like if there's days where I just don't get around to it, then that's fine. I'm not intending to write every day. I'm hoping to, but if I don't, that's fine. We're just gonna take each day as it comes with everything and see how much I get done. So for now, I need to go get some coffee and get some food and get back to some teaching work. And then a little bit later this afternoon, we can chat more about Independent Hearts 3 and start writing for Nano. But first, coffee. Always coffee. But welcome to the vlog. It should be less chaotic than the last one. I hope. Okay, it is now a little while later and I have my next call in about 20 minutes. I have been doing some teaching work, trying to take a deep breath. I don't want, this day is running away from me, but I'm really trying to manage my mindset and not get stressed and anxious about all of that. It's only Wednesday. I'll get things in order by the end of the week, but I'm already like mentally deciding like what is going to be done today, what can I shift to another day. I did manage to get my printer working, so I have printed off pages for November. But part of me feels like I need to print off some December pages right now, just in case my printer doesn't work anymore. So I might do that actually. Watch that now that I've told you that my printer is printing fine. Now it won't print right. That would be just my luck. Because I didn't have to do anything. I just turned it on and it was magically printing correctly today. There we go. I still needed to do the conference schedule. Might have to do that tomorrow. Okay, that printed correctly. So I will trim and hole punch those later. I can close out of that. I've got way too many tabs and windows and stuff open on my laptop still. So where we're at with book stuff with Independent Hearts 3. I have made a little bit more cover progress. So I'm coloring in some more things on the cover, and that's very exciting. I need to just like sit down, not today, I don't have the time today, but I need to sit down probably on Friday or maybe this weekend and just like give myself 2 hours to just work on the cover, and then probably step away from it and then come back the next day and work on it for like another hour, maybe like make some tweaks and stuff. But it's getting really close, and I did download, borrowed from the library, a new audiobook because I made a lot of progress on the cover the last time I had an audiobook. So I think I can just sit down, listen to that while I work on the cover on my computer here. So I'll do that this weekend. I did manage to make some progress on front matter and back matter. I now have at least first draft of the dedication. I'm going to kind of tweak it a little bit, I think. And then I have a first draft of the acknowledgement, so I want to look back through that. And I'm halfway through the author's note. And then I haven't made any more progress on proofreading. So I read through it, and I marked up all my corrections on the PDF of the book interior. I still need to go back into Vellum page by page, scrolling through both Vellum and the PDF, and make all of those changes. That's something else that I can't really do that while I'm listening to an audiobook. I think that would be too distracting. But that's something else that I just want to take like 2 hours to just plow through everything and get it just done. So we have made progress on front and back matter, so that's good. It's not going to be done by this weekend and ready to upload by this weekend, which is what I had originally wanted. But I do think it's still possible, hopefully, to get it uploaded by next weekend, which would be like around the 11th or 12th. So I'm going to actually shift that in my calendar. We're just going to move upload day. Oh, it can't be the 11th. We'll put it to the 12th. The 11th, I've got something else going on. I mean, I could possibly, but we'll put it on the 12th. So yeah, there's just a lot that I still need to figure out and get sorted. I think I can get it done by the 12th and ready to upload by the 12th, which would be really good. But if it's not, then it's not. And I feel like launch is... I have no launch plan. This book's just gonna magically materialize on Amazon one day, and I'm just gonna send out like a blast to everyone that it's ready. That's probably what's going to happen. Not the best thing. Don't do that. I feel like that goes against all the rules, but I just want this book done and out. So if I don't get a proof copy until like the day before Thanksgiving, but then the proof copy arrives and everything is good. Like, I haven't said this, but like my unofficial date would be probably like somewhere between, Thanksgiving is the 23rd. So probably somewhere between the 22nd and the 30th. That's my publishing window. That's when I'm hoping it will be out by. And like, I generally don't like releasing a book on a Monday or a Tuesday. Like, I wouldn't do it on a Tuesday because I'm so busy teaching. But like, I feel like all my normal rules are just going to go out the window for this one because I just want it out. I just want it out. I'm done. I'm done. It needs to be published. So normally I would upload it, submit it, get the proof copy, wait for that, check the proof copy. Once I know the proof copy is good and I'm happy with it, then I set a date like 3 weeks from that date. And I always have this kind of planned in my head that like, I'll upload on this day, my proof copy will arrive by around this day, and then launch can be around this day. This time, all that's going out the window. It's just, I'm literally taking it day by day, and when the book is ready, I'm just going to hit publish. Kind of a thing. This is why you need to sign up to my newsletter, because if I'm not like posting a vlog or something, like the newsletter is going to be where everyone finds out first. So that link is in the description box. I don't do pre-orders, but I just ask that you sign up to my newsletter email list and you will get an email as soon as it is live. So I probably will still pick a day as like official launch day when I will blast about it on social media, but I will send out an email as soon as it is live. That's what I always do. We'll talk about that another vlog. But yeah, that's kind of where that book is at. It's getting really close. I'm inching forward, just an inch by inch, day by day, doing the best I can, but not pressuring myself. So like, I probably am not going to do any work on it today. I've just been too busy with teaching work and stuff. Now I've got this call and I really want to start Nano, and I'm just not feeling in the right headspace to be working on Independent Hearts. Could I make myself work on it? Sure. That's not the energy I want to put into it right now. So I think I will have more time to work on it tomorrow. I might work on Independent Hearts tomorrow and not really do any Nano work tomorrow. So I might just flip things. Instead of doing a little bit of each today and tomorrow, I'll just do Nano today, start Nano strong, and then take a break from Nano tomorrow. I've got a whole different approach for Nano this year, I feel like, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I've got this call that I need to jump on really quick, and then I think when the call is done, I will switch to Nano and we will get some Nano work done. Okay, it is now later in the afternoon. I've got about an hour before I want to get up and go hiking, which means factoring in time for vlogging, I've probably got about 30 to 40 minutes to actually write and work. So we'll see how this goes. There's no pressure today, and today's just going to be a lot of stream of consciousness writing anyway, I think. I just want to ease into the project. I don't want to do anything too stressful. Yeah, like I feel like I am at the base of a really, really tall mountain, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just looking at it, trying to figure out, like, is this the direction I want to go? Is this the direction I want to go? No, that looks like it's got more rocks, maybe not. What about this way? So like, I'm feeling my way in the dark with this, basically. So to catch you up and to give you a little bit more detail than perhaps I've done in the past, I started working on this book, this series, years ago, back in 2010, so over a decade ago. And I wrote the first draft of the first book, which I have here. So I do need to grab my project notebook because I might need that today. This binder is the first draft of the first book. Don't know exactly how this is going to factor into this month. I do need to go back through. Part of this month is probably, well, it could be next month as well, but at some point I need to go back through and reconstruct my outline for book one. And so that might be something, one of the tasks I do one day, or it might take me a few days to do that. But I started working on this book over a decade ago. So there's that. And then I put it to the side, and eventually I wrote book one of a completely different series. Didn't even know it was going to be a series at that time. That book then became A Brave Start, which is book one of my Across the Pond series, which is my London-based contemporary romance chick lit series. I've now written 3 books in that series, or published 3 books in that series, written 4. The 4th book will hopefully come out sometime next year. And so then I got, it took me several years to write A Brave Start. And when I decided back in early 2019 that well, it was kind of late 2018 that I started thinking about it, and then announced in early to mid 2019 that I was going to go forward with publishing it and getting into self-publishing. Since that point, I've just been writing romance. And this fantasy series has just kind of been languishing on my computer. But it's always been in the back of my mind. And I am just reading so much more fantasy now, especially at this time of year. But I read way more fantasy, particularly supernatural, paranormal, urban fantasy, magical realism. I read so much more of that now than I did back when I first worked on this book. And so I really do want to publish this series one day. I'm thinking that I'm going to attempt traditional publishing. So sometime in the next year, hopefully, I will start querying, and then we'll see what happens. If after a year or so of querying, I don't get an agent, or if I get an agent and then after a year or so of them trying to get it published, it doesn't get published, at that point, I would probably self-publish this. But it feels like, because I've done pretty well in romance, I understand the genre, I understand the marketing, I could do a lot better with that. But like, I feel like I've done pretty well with that, and I'm happy with how that is going. This would be a completely different genre, possibly a different pen name, I haven't totally decided on that, and a whole new series. So it just feels like this might be worth attempting traditional publishing with. So if I'm going to do that, I kind of feel like before I start querying, like what I would like to have in my pocket for querying is a really refined first draft. So that needs a lot of work because it is not very refined right now. And I would like to have a pretty tight, solid synopsis, about 4,000 or 5,000 words for each of the books in the series to accompany book one, the manuscript for book one, so that any agent who's considering me, any publisher who's considering this book and the series would be able to see I have the series mapped out. I know how many books it's going to be. I know what the main action of each book is going to be. I know the plot arc, the character arc for each individual book, as well as for the whole series. I don't think that's very common. I think a lot of people do get their fantasy series picked up even if they have no clue what's really happening next. Like, I don't know what's common. I just personally would like to know before book one gets published that I know where the rest of the series is going. With Across the Pond and Independent Hearts, my two romance series, and with my Royal Romance series that I have yet to publish, haven't forgotten about that, don't worry. We will circle back to that one eventually. With those series, they're interconnected standalones, and they're spin-offs of like the original first couple books or something. So each book is kind of its own thing, and they're all connected within the world of the series. This fantasy series would be different. There will be plot arcs for each individual book, but then there'll be an overarching series plot arc. And so I just wouldn't feel comfortable starting to publish the series if I don't know where I'm going. So that's what we're working on in NaNo this month, is figuring out in like a few thousand words or so per book. And I might have said how many books I'm aiming for, but if I didn't, I'm not going to reveal it now. I'm going to try to keep it, because that could also change, and that's part of what I want to figure out. I want to know, is this going to be a trilogy? Is it going to be 4 books, 5 books, 6 books, more books? I don't know, because I also don't want it to be a case where I tell myself it's got to be this number of books, and then I get down to the last book of the series and it ends up being 3 times the length of the previous books. I want a set number of roughly a similar length per book. And so I just want to get a lot of the big story questions figured out. Basically, what this month is going to be about is constructing a rough series outline. So not necessarily individual book outlines. I think for each book, or what I'm conceiving of as each book, I will have a really broad skeleton outline, and then that will help me create the full series outline. So I'll talk you through my process throughout this month, how I'm going about doing this. But right now, where I'm starting is I'm treating the whole series the same way that I would treat an individual book as far as outlining. So when I sit down to outline one of my romance novels, I've done a whole video on my outlining process, so you can go look that up. When I sit down to outline one of my romance novels, I start with what I refer to as like the main tent poles of the story that hold the whole thing up. So how does it start? Where does the action begin? What is the main inciting incident? What is that trigger? What is that first domino that gets flicked that sets off the chain reaction? What is the midpoint? Where does it end? And what are the kind of big pinch points or plot points between the inciting incident and the midpoint, and between the midpoint and the climax? Need to figure out the climax, need to figure out the resolution. So those are kind of the main points that I figure out when I'm outlining a book. Then I go back and start filling in the gaps in between. So if this is the inciting incident and this is the first pinch point, what has to happen to get from inciting incident to this next big incident? And then what do I have to do to get from that incident, that pinch point, plot point, to get to the midpoint? And then I continue filling in the gaps. So I'm taking that process and I'm putting that over the whole series. So where does book 1 start? Where does book X, final book, whatever number it is, where does that book end? Where does the whole story end? What is the big final ending? What is the big climax of the whole series? That may or may not end up being the climax of that last book. The last book may have 2 climaxes. The climax of the action of the story of that individual installment, and then the climax of the whole series. The midpoint of the series will probably come around the midpoint or the beginning or end. I'll have to see if I end up with an even number or an odd number of books. But like if it's an odd number of books, then the midpoint would probably come in the midpoint of the middle book. If there's an even number of books, the midpoint of the series might be the climax of whatever that middle book is. Like if there's 6 books, then it would be the climax of the 3rd book would kind of be then the midpoint of the whole series. So I'm figuring out the main tentpole moments of the whole series and then deciding kind of where they might fit within an individual book. From there, I'll then figure out more tentpoles to figure out the inciting incident, midpoint, climax, resolution of each individual book and how that overlays with the plot arc of. So we're kind of putting, like thinking of this in terms of the tent analogy, we're putting X number of tents, don't know how many, but several tents within one bigger tent. And so you've got the tent poles of the whole series and then the smaller tent poles of each individual book. So we're working backwards. We're working from the big picture. What is the big major plot points of the entire series? And I kind of have an idea for that. And then what are the main moments of each individual book? And based on the tent poles of the whole series, I'm hoping that will give me an idea. I kind of know that will give me an idea of how many books it might take. So that's where we're beginning. So I'm going to work for about 30-ish minutes. I'll probably set a timer for 30 minutes. I am racing daylight to a certain extent. I do have to get out for my hike before it gets too late. So I'm going to work for about 30 minutes. I'm just going to brain dump what is already in my head as far as the story is concerned. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I have been wanting to work on this for so long, and I just feel like for NaNoWriMo this month, this is going to be the perfect project. I don't want to work on any other romance. I don't want to be getting too distracted from Independent Hearts 3 by like starting to work on book 4 or switching back to Across the Pond. I want to be doing something creative and generative that's not the next book I'm going to publish, if that makes sense. So I feel like this is the perfect project because it'll feel like if I can only do 10 minutes on it one day, I can still make a lot of progress and still feel like I'm pushing this project along without feeling like I'm not working enough on it or something. And yeah, like there's not a whole lot I can tell you about the world of this book, but I'm really excited to dive back into it. Nervous, but excited. Okay, we are off to a good start and I am very, very excited. So yes, I have managed 840 words. So that's very, very exciting. My goal was 833. So I've got my Scrivener project set up for a goal of 25,000 words for the month, which would be about 833 words per day. That I'm definitely starting to feel like that is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Feeling how it felt today, I mean, it's about 20 minutes later than I wanted to stop. So I wrote for a little bit longer than I intended. So I didn't get to 833 quite as quickly as I was kind of hoping. I am having to do a lot of thinking before I'm writing. I think that will change as I go. I kind of spent today working across a bunch of different ideas. So I have a few different sections set up in the manuscript section of my binder in Scrivener. I've got like a general outline section, sections for what I'm thinking would be each of the books. The notes section, I've got a character list, I've got a timeline, and I've got a location list. And so all of those sections will be counting words. If I write anything in any of those sections, it will count towards my overall word count. So I was bouncing between the outline section, the notes section, and the character list today. I do have a character list from before, so I'm typing that up, copying that over, and that's the main characters from the first book. So when I start doing like some character development and stuff, I think that will go a little bit faster. But right now, trying to think between all the different books and the whole story and like where it begins, where it ends, all of that, it's definitely taking me a while. It's not going super quickly, but that's okay. That's fine. I'm not worried about that, not at all. I'm really excited working on this. Like I am getting so many ideas. So it's definitely like this feeling of like it's very different from the romance work. And like there will be romance in this. There's totally going to be romance in this. I am a romance writer at heart. I'm not sure I would consider this like straight up romantasy. I feel like when we talk about romantasy as a genre, I feel like romantasy is more of that like epic fantasy with romance. This is an epic fantasy. This is not a fictional universe. My favorite fantasy novels are the ones that, and I don't know if these would be the one, if this would be classified as like, the genres and the designations make me a little bit confused. Like I don't know if I'm thinking specifically of magical realism or urban fantasy. I feel like it's a little bit of both. I like when it is set in our world, in our time, and Like it could be happening right now. And we're just silly humans, and so we don't know that there's all these magical creatures actually around us. I like when it's our world, but there's like, the magic is among us. The magical creatures are among us. That is my favorite kind of fantasy. So that gives you a little bit of an insight into what we're working on. I really don't want to say too much. I don't know how much is a good idea for me to share if I am going to be getting this published. I'm probably going to be a little bit more tight-lipped about this series than I have about the others, but that definitely gives you an idea of the overall genre I'm kind of in. I definitely don't think I would have been able to write this book, this whole series, the way I'm thinking now if I had been doing all of this 10 years ago, because I just understand the broader fantasy genre is so much better now, and I'm so much more aware of what's been done, what hasn't been done, what's been done but perhaps not in a certain way. It's definitely going to be following kind of a heroine's journey, which I need to dig out. I need to just order a physical copy of that book. I have the ebook, but I need to get a physical copy because I think I want to have it like open next to me as I'm working. I'm not interested in the hero's journey. Don't like the hero's journey as a plot structure, but there's definitely going to be strong elements of the heroine's journey, so I really should order a copy of that book because I think that structure will be really helpful as I'm working this first like week of Nano. So that's going to be very important. But then I'm going to mix that up a bit as well, because I don't like following any structure like to the letter. I like mixing and matching and doing things my way. So I'm very excited with where this is going already. I've been working in my main outline section, so I've got 616 words written in there, and then another couple hundred words written in other sections of the Scrivener file. Didn't really do much in Babisco, tiny bit. I'm excited. Like, I know I've said that a million times, but it feels very different working on this than working on the romance. And like, I know there will be romance in this, but like, I haven't really gotten, like, that's not what I was focusing on. I was really focusing on the big picture, big story kind of stuff today. So I might do a little bit of work on developing the romance subplot. There's probably going to be a few romance subplots in this because there are multiple characters. But yeah, this is going to be something that does have the potential to just spiral outwards and be really huge. And I am going to have to try to keep it somewhat contained. I was looking at the first draft file in Scrivener file of the first book, and it looks like that one's at about 103,000 words. I know I want it to be a little bit longer. I think I'm aiming for more like 110 to 115, so it's good to know that I have room to expand that. But yeah, this is a story that could potentially be massive, and I want it to be massive, but not super massive, if that makes sense. So yeah, but it's now getting late. I have to go get changed. I have to dash out. We're gonna go for a hike. I'm gonna take you all with me. Hiking is going to be a huge part of NaNoWriMo this month. So pretty much every Nano vlog is probably gonna feature a hike, because hiking is definitely a huge part of my writing process. I love being able to think things through while I'm hiking, get some fresh air, stretch my legs. So the hiking clips in these vlogs are also your reminder to get outside if you can, stretch your legs, get some fresh air, or just sit outside and breathe some fresh air. So we'll go do that, and then we'll chat some more and wrap up this vlog. But this has been an excellent first writing session. I'm very, very happy, and I wasn't going to do any work on this tomorrow, but I might have to do a little just to keep it up, because I really I haven't been this excited about something in a while, like something writing related. It feels so huge and so daunting, and yet I also, like, I really want to keep working on this, but have to go hiking. So let's go. yeah, the sun is setting a lot earlier than I thought it was. I had even less time than I expected. That's okay. I managed a little under 30 minutes, but I did manage a full mile. So that's great. And yeah, it's gorgeous. I thought the sun was still setting at like 5:45. Setting at 5:36 now. The park closes at 5:35, so it is now 5:24, so I've got a little bit of time to chat to you. But yeah, it was gorgeous. Did a lot of thinking about my nano project. Got some more ideas. Really tempted to go home and write them up, but I think I'm gonna let them sit. So I do kind of have a list of things I want to work on the next time I sit down. So maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. But yeah, I've got some character things I want to talk about or just write down. I've got some general plot things. My like main idea for the conflict, I was thinking in one direction to go, and then I thought, well, but if they do that, from a reader perspective, I would wonder, why didn't they do this other thing instead? So then it got me thinking, so there needs to be a reason why they don't do the more sensible option. And so that got me thinking even more. So now I've got an idea, and then that gave me more ideas for other things. So a lot of stuff was just turning around in my brain and getting lots of ideas and very excited about it all. I do think I want to try dictation because I think I can speak faster than I can type. And like, I was just coming up with a lot of ideas. I could dictate while I hike, but I pass just enough people that they probably already think I'm odd because sound carries. They probably hear me muttering under my breath as they're approaching me because I haven't seen them yet or something like that. So I don't think I want to try dictating while I'm hiking, but I should try dictating like while I'm getting ready in the morning or something like that. But yeah, I'm still excited, still feeling excited, still had a lot of really good ideas. The story is just continuing to unfold. The characters I'm getting to know a little bit better, and that's very exciting. It's very interesting seeing how things are changing from what my original idea was over a decade ago. It does not feel like 2010 was that long ago, but it was. 13 years. 13 years gone in a blink, it feels like. But yeah, definitely feels different working on it now. I've grown as a writer. Like, I'm so much more experienced as a writer. It's interesting coming back to the first thing I ever wrote now that I have the experience of 9 other books. 11 other books? I'm losing track. I can't keep, this is how many books I've written. I can't even count them all. 6 published. 7th is Independent Hearts 3, Across the Pond 4, Royal Romance 1, and then The Fantasy is the 10th book. So it's interesting coming back to my first book after writing 9 others. And so it's still the first book I've ever written, but in a way it's also now the 11th book that I'll be editing. And I just know so much more now. And I'm a much stronger and better writer and storyteller. I'm not perfect. I'm not the best, but I am better than I was back in 2010. The idea of this book is still good, so I wouldn't want to just walk away from it. No, the second draft is going to be much better than the first because the story idea, the series idea is just so much bigger and more complex and more rich than the original idea. So yeah, had a great hike, had a lot of thoughts, but the sun is now setting. I need to get out of here. There's still, like I said, tons of cars, but I'm going to head out very soon and get home. So I will show you what I get up to the rest of the night, but this is going to be it for now. Give the vlog a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Both of those things would be amazing. There's plenty more NaNoWriMo content coming. As for our question, let me know. By the time this goes up, we'll be a good few days into Nano. So just how have your first few days of Nano been? How are you doing? If you're not doing Nano, but you're still writing something, how is your writing going so far this month? Are you having fun? Are you focusing on the joy and following your joy in writing? Because that is our big overarching goal for the month around here. If you are not writing officially or unofficially in Nano, if you're not one of the writers, if you're not a writer who's following me, let me know just how your November is going. What is one really fun thing that has happened for you so far in the first few days of November? For me, this hike has been a perfect, joyful, amazing, magical start to a whole new month. So that is my moment of joy, moment of magic so far in November. So let me know yours. And I am now going to head home. I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye.